in your region's community. Oh, forgot about that part. All right, let's start over. Um, Good evening, and thank you everyone for joining your Regions Community Engagement Live webinar. This is the session for Regions 45 and 50, just to make sure you're in the right place. Tonight's session, as you can see, will be recorded. And recordings will be shared on our Birth to Five YouTube channel following tonight's event. For anyone who was unable to attend, or if you just want to kind of recap and look at it again, if you missed something during the presentation, you can always refer back to it. For our Spanish speakers, we will be offering live Spanish translation this evening. So we'll pause for a second for anyone who would like to participate in Spanish. Carlos?
Buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Carlos Muñoz y voy a estar representando y voy a estar traduciendo para todas las personas que gusten o necesiten saber el idioma español. Hi, my name is Carlos Muñoz. I'm going to be translating for the people who wants or needs my assistance. And thanks for having me.
All right, thank you. If you would like closed captioning, please click on the CC/live transcript button at the bottom of your screen. The closed captioning is being provided by Zoom, so we apologize in advance for any errors that may occur in translation. Sometimes the Zoom translation isn't the best, so we apologize in advance for that. And just so you know, we changed our format. Initially, we were going to do a town hall, and we changed it to a live webinar to ensure that we had the highest quality experience for all attendees and that we had enough time to make sure that we addressed questions that came in that were submitted during registration. And also we have a good amount of time carved out to take questions during the actual session. Our goals tonight are to introduce our team, share more about the work of the Birth to Five Action and the Family Councils, and then also to answer your questions. While the chat is open, we do ask that all questions you would like to be answered and read aloud by our Birth to Five team be submitted into the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. So please use that function to put in your questions. Please don't use the chat box for your questions, use that Q&A box. We will be answering questions tonight, first that were submitted to us via the registration form, as I mentioned before. And then secondly, the ones that are submitted to us this evening during the presentation into that Q&A box. All attendees are currently muted. However, you can find the raise hand function at the bottom of your screen. Once our initial presentation is over and we answer the questions submitted to us in advance and dropped in that Q&A box, we will allow for the live question session, time permitting. So please hold on to raising your hand until that live Q&A session is started. And then finally, we will not be giving any certificates for attendance for tonight's session. So a couple of those questions came in, so we wanted to make sure that folks were aware of that. All right, and now that we've got the housekeeping stuff out of the way, we'll go ahead and get started. Next slide, please. All right, so Birth to Five Illinois' vision is reimagining a more equitable early childhood education and care system that ensures family and community voices centered and prioritized at every level of decision-making in Illinois. Next slide, which takes us to our mission. And so our mission is to create a statewide regional infrastructure that will amplify input from communities in the development of policies and funding priorities. We mobilize communities to build and sustain equitable access to inclusive, high quality early childhood services for all children and families in the state of Illinois. Next slide, which then takes us to our values and our goals. So 3 major categories here as far as our values are concerned. So the first one around family voice. And so through this transformation that is centered on authentic family and community engagement, we plan to address the inequitable distribution of resources and services and rebuild our state's early childhood education and care systems. And then as far as racial equity, so in our efforts to make sure that we are moving our early childhood care and education and care system to one where race is no longer a predictor of a child's success. We will address barriers that have limited access to those high quality services for minoritized children in every corner of our state. And then for collective impact, we set out to build a system that harnesses knowledge that comes directly from families and mobilizes those decision makers in those communities to ensure new and expanded services are created to meet community needs and directly influence policy and funding at the local, regional, and at the state levels. Next slide. So here is our team. So we have Cicely Fleming, who is our state director. And I think I neglected to introduce myself right at the beginning. So I'll do that now. I am Sonia Clark, the Director of Operations at Birth to Five, Illinois. We also have Dina Chapman, who is our Family and Community Engagement Manager. We have David Kiros, who is our Family and Community Engagement Coordinator. We have Jess Scheinflug, who is our Project Coordinator. Maggie Kohler, who is our Communications Manager, and Angela Hubbard, who is our Grants and Relationships Manager. On the call with me tonight and that are part of the panel, we have Maggie Kohler, our Communications Manager, Dina Chapman, our Family and Community Engagement Manager from our team. And so one thing to note is that you see everyone that's on this picture here, but you notice only a few of us are here tonight. And that is because we are running another webinar for another region at the same time. So we kind of split our team in half. So half of our team are here and the other half are in the other session doing this exact same thing for other regions in the state. Next slide. Okay, also part of our team are our area coordinators. And so we have 6 of them that are covering regions and areas in the state. So for area 1, we have Corrine Nunnally. For area 2, Diana Murdian. For area 3, Jackie Jones. For area 4, Dana David. For area 5, Kim Hunt. And for area 6, Lori Longville. And so on the call tonight is the area coordinator that covers your region, which is area 5, which is Kim Hunt. So Kim Hunt is also on the call tonight. Next slide. So what is Birth to Five Illinois? So in partnership with the state of Illinois and Illinois Network of Child Care Resource and Referral Agencies, which is INCRA, we have launched the Birth to Five Illinois that has been really tasked with creating Birth to Five action councils and family councils in each of the 39 regions in Illinois, currently excluding the city of Chicago. However, we are working with Every Child Ready Chicago to plan for their virtual kickoff, which will be on April 6th. So interest forms for the city of Chicago will open after April 6th. The councils will share geographic boundaries with the Illinois State Board of Education, their regional offices of education. So they'll share that geography, and that's the geography that we use to identify the regions of the councils, but we operate independently of the ROEs. There are several important goals for this work. So one is to support local residents in coming together to address the early childhood needs within their own communities. And then secondly, to make sure that the state's policies and funding priorities actually match the needs of each region, prioritizing voices of families and providers within those communities and other community members. And then also to provide equitable access to high quality early childhood services for all the children in the state of Illinois. We are in the process of hiring a regional action council manager in each of the 39 regions. Those positions have been posted for about a month now. So we are taking applications for those regional action council managers for every region in the state of Illinois. Again, the city of Chicago position will be open following their kickoff event, which is scheduled for April 6th. So after April 6th, that position will also be posted, but all other regions, the other 38 are currently posted. And so these managers will oversee the formation and ongoing operations of the regional councils, including the hiring of the additional staff. So for every region, we intend to have that manager, also a family and community engagement specialist, and then also an admin or a data person for each one of those regional offices. All right, and just want to check and see if she is here. All right, yes, she has made it in. All right, and now I will hand it over to my colleague, the dynamic Dina Chapman, who will talk about serving on your Birth to Five Action Council.
Why, thank you, Sonia. Wow, technology, gotta love it. Good evening, everyone. I'm Dina Chapman. I am the Family and Community Engagement Manager for Birth to Five Illinois, and it is my pleasure to be with you tonight to share information about the Action Councils and the Family Councils. So each region's Birth to Five Action Council will have approximately 15 members seated on it, and we're looking to host a wide variety of experiences and persons on this council. So those experiences might include parents and family members, community members from underrepresented populations, our local early childhood or education collaboration members, Head Start or Child Care Center staff, family child care staff, early educators, which would include home visitors, early intervention providers, staff from a regional office of education, the local school district, like board members and superintendent staff. We're also looking to have local or county elected officials, healthcare employees, higher education employees, child care resource and referral staff and coordinated intake staff, and business representatives like from the Chamber of Commerce, members of the faith community, and if you're not identified, you are also welcome to other people as well. Next slide, please. As part of the Birth to Five Action Council, community members will be an important part of our leadership team, providing direction and vision. So by now you're probably asking, what exactly will the action councils do? So the action councils will be charged with identifying gaps in the communities and in the regions, amplifying family voice, working with the local coalitions, communicating with the community, collaborating with our state team, conducting a regional scan, and creating an annual report. The requirements and commitments for the Action Council members. So this is what you must do, or what is required of you to join your regional Action Council. You must live or work or receive early childhood services in the region. Understand that this is a volunteer leadership role, but the expectation for meetings is twice a month. And you'll be asked to make a 1 to 2 year commitment. So everyone is expected to make at least a 1 year commitment, and then you'll have the opportunity for year 2 if you so desire. Two people on the council, on the Action Council, will be family members or caregivers, and they will receive a stipend for their work. Next slide, please. True transformation can only happen with authentic parent engagement, which will happen through Birth to Five family councils. So what does it mean to serve on your Birth to Five family council? In addition to the Birth to Five Action Council, which will include parent and family representation, each region will also be encouraged to stand up a family council to ensure families, especially those from priority populations, are engaged to help shape the system. So we are looking for families with children under the age of 8 and or experience with Illinois early childhood education and care services. And again, we are looking to seat approximately 15 people on our family council. Next slide, please. As part of the Birth to Five Family Council, parents, family members will have the chance to make a big difference for children and families in their community. So the role of the Family Council is to serve as an advisory committee to the Action Council, to share critical input, give feedback, to advocate for family needs, to help identify gaps in the communities and in the region, and to raise issues of concern from the community. Again, you may need to attend 2 meetings a month. We will have a flyer. We do have a flyer actually to help recruit Birth to Five family councils, and we'll put that link in the chat this evening. With regard to the requirements and commitments for family council members, we're seeking diverse family representation on all of these councils. This is a paid leadership role. There will be a stipend provided. You are expected to meet approximately twice a month. And like the Action Council, we are looking for folks to make a 1 to 2 year commitment. Year 1, and then for year 2, you'll have the option to stay on if you like. Okay, so now I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of the questions that came on into our chat box prior to this event tonight. So first,
Dina,
yes.
So Dina, let's hold off a bit on those questions until we get into that question phase.
Okay, so
let's let Kim go ahead and do.
Yes, I'm going to pass it over to Kim now.
Oh, yep.
Thank you, Dina and Sonia. My name is Kim Hunt, and I'm the coordinator for tonight's regions. I will start my portion of the presentation by talking about how we will partner with collaborations. Birth to Five Action and Family Councils will work as partners with local collaborations, both to help them build capacity where possible and to share information regarding future planning. Action and Family Councils will not replace or duplicate the work of local community collaborations. Ultimately, our goal is to make the community work easier with a new governance and funding model for early childhood education and care statewide, one that's actually based on the needs of young children and their families. For those organizations already working on the regional level, our leadership team has engaged in conversations about aligning efforts. In areas with more localized efforts, once hired, the regional staff will look to build on the work of the collaborations by ensuring that the gaps, barriers, and expansion needs that they have already identified are highlighted in the regional scan. In addition, through this work, there will be new efforts in engaging families and providers that have historically been left out. It's our hope that Birth to Five Illinois is seen as a part of the community system and an additional early childhood education and care advocate. Finally, a $1 million funding opportunity will be launched in spring of 2022 to help collaborations regain and increase enrollment in early childhood programs, especially programs that saw decreases in enrollment due to the pandemic. More information will be shared as it becomes available. Next slide, please. So next steps and how to get involved. Both the Birth to Five Action and Family Councils will be community driven. Birth to Five Illinois is providing the infrastructure and support to ensure that there is equitable representation on both councils created within each region. We are ready to stand up councils as soon as the community is ready. Now we need you and others in your community to complete an interest form so we can engage where there is interest and where we need to increase our outreach efforts. We are asking you to complete an interest form for either your region's Birth to Five Action or Family Council. Interest forms can be shared with others to complete and are available in English, Spanish, and Polish on our website. Please visit our website, also available in English, Spanish, and Polish, to learn more about our work and how you can get involved. We encourage everyone to visit our frequently asked questions page, which was updated with answers to the numerous questions submitted to our team during our virtual regional kickoff events in early February. Next slide, please. Additionally, anyone interested is encouraged to apply for one of our open positions. We are currently hiring 38 regional action council managers, one in every region across the state. We are also looking for a data strategist to join our state team and support the data needs of the regional action councils. To stay in the loop, you can subscribe to the Birth to Five email communications and connect with us on social media. Links to our social platform can be found on the bottom of our website, as well as the bottom of all our email communications. This concludes our presentation for this evening. We're now going to be joined by Dina, who will transition us into the Q&A portion of tonight's event.
Thank you, Kim. Amazing job. Thank you. So we have received several questions about child development, early childhood educator compensation, child care assistance, data, and program funding. And we just wanted to say that these areas are not within our purview, so we're not able to answer any questions under that category. We would encourage you to visit Illinois Cares for Kids, which is the state's early childhood consumer education website, to see if your questions might be answered there or if there's a link there for you. So one of the questions that came in reads as follows: how are you all planning, to align Birth to Five engagement activities with existing collaboratives and initiatives? Actually, Kim just reviewed that question. And so basically, we're not trying to recreate the wheel here or undo work that's already been done. So any existing collabs or initiatives, we want to build off of that foundation and continue the good work that you all have already done. So we will be working hand in hand with those collabs to keep the great work going and moving forward. For our frequently asked questions, what are the deliverables of the Birth to Five Action and Family Councils? In year one, the councils will be working on connecting and reconnecting families to services as they were utilized pre-pandemic. Per the state's directive, Birth to Five Action Councils will deliver a full regional scan, also known as a needs assessment, of the early childhood education and care service landscape by December of 2022. This report will be generated with the support of Illinois Action for Children. What is the state of Illinois already doing to encourage parents to take their young children to enroll in early childhood programs? the state is currently running a statewide early childhood awareness and enrollment campaign that focuses family and community engagement strategies to promote the importance of early learning and availability of early childhood programs and supports to families. That campaign is expected to launch sometime this month. As part of these efforts, Illinois Cares for Kids is inviting all families to join Ready for K, which is a free research-based text messaging program for families with kids ages 0 to 11. Families can expect to receive text messages, 3 per week, with fun facts and tips on ways to help your children learn and grow. Illinois families are welcome to sign up now. There will be a link in the chat about Ready for K. And then finally, what's the time frame to stand up these birth to 5 councils? When can we expect to see the implementation of this work? So Birth to 5 is providing a statewide infrastructure and staffing and framework for communities at the regional level. And councils will be developed based on community interests, not a state timeline. This is why we have the interest forms out there, meaning we will move to formalize the action and family councils when the staffing positions have been filled and diverse community members are interested in being on the councils. So Maggie is dropping another link in the chat box for Illinois Cares for Kids. And now we're going to turn our attention to the questions that have been submitted to us in the Q&A box since the start of tonight's event. And I believe I'm turning that over to the magnificent Maggie.
Thank you, Dina. Thank you, everyone. We're so glad to have you all with us tonight. So as Dina just ran through, we had one question submitted in advance specific for the region. We wanted to go through a couple of frequently asked questions we've been getting across regions in preparation for the event. And now to facilitate our Spanish interpretation, we're just going to go ahead and read the questions that have been submitted so far in the Q&A box, and also to give an opportunity to answer those live. If anyone at any point does want to come off mute and ask us a question live, please use the raise your hand icon at the bottom of your screen and we'll take you off mute so you can ask the question. But first, we're going to start with those that were submitted in the Q&A box. So the first question was, are Action Council open meetings? And I'll go ahead and take this in the communications realm. So the Action Council meetings will be open to the public because we really want to ensure transparency and invite the community to participate. But these, as this is not a body that exists under law, we are not currently subject to the Open Meetings Act. So the intention is to have the meeting information posted and to let folks attend, but we don't need to be subject to the law of the Open Meetings Act. All right, so one question that was submitted was, in order to get the full engagement for the amount of time the employees will be making, what pieces of the MOU will we be offering to have staff be committed for 2 years? So I'm not sure if this question is referring to the members of the council or the paid staff that will be hired for each of the regions. Let me read that one more time. In order to get full engagement for the amount of time, let me say the members will be making, what pieces of the MOU will the organization be offering to have them be committed for 2 years?
So I'll answer as to what my understanding of the question is. And I think what it's trying to get at is the members on the council, the time commitment that we're asking for. Will there be an MOU that goes out for their time commitment to that? And so, no, we will not have any, be creating any MOUs for membership participation. I mean, we do understand that that everyone is stretched thin as far as their time and duties and activities and things that they are responsible for. And that's why we've kind of left it very flexible as far as time commitment and term commitment. So as far as term commitment, we've kind of left that open to, if they can commit to a year, that's, that's okay. If they can commit to the 2 years, that's great. But every 2 years or every year or so, we will rotate the membership of the council. So it's going to be left open, and so that we get that continuous new voices at the table. And so that is what we're trying to do. And as far as the cadence of meetings, when meetings are going to happen, how many meetings they're going to have, how much time you're going to spend in those meetings, we're really leaving that up to the council. So once the council is formed, they will make those decisions based on the time availability that they have, right? And the deliverables that they have to produce. So we're leaving that open. So we're providing the infrastructure. And then we do have an expectation that you're meeting at least once a month, but if the council decides to meet for more than once a month, if they decide to have a 3-hour meeting or a 2-hour meeting, that's really being left up to the councils, because we know that it's going to vary from region to region what time commitment people can make to this effort. And so we are leaving that very flexible for those very reasons, that we know that people are stretched thin and there needs to be some flexibility there. So we are allowing for that flexibility.
Thank you, Sonia. Okay, another question that came in regards to the family council is if we're able to share what the stipend amounts are or will be.
So I'll take that one. Dina, did you want to take that, or you want me to take that?
It's fine, whichever, doesn't matter.
Oh God. Okay, here we go. So we are trying to use best practices as far as that's concerned. Maybe I should have let Dina take this one. We are trying to use best practices as far as that's concerned, and making sure that we're compensating. We do have it in our budget to pay stipends. We have not decided on an amount though yet. We don't have a whole lot of money, so we can't pay families what we would love to be able to compensate them for their time and their expertise on the councils, but we are still trying to work through that budgetarily to see what amount we are able to comfortably save that we can do, like the least amount that we're able to do for families that participate. But we are being very thoughtful about that. We do value their time and their expertise, and we want to be able to compensate them accordingly for that. Dina, did you want to add anything to that?
I think you said it very well, Sonia. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. All right, another question that came in. Oh, sorry, wait, let me actually ask this one. There was a follow-up question. What is the timeline for knowing what those amounts will be?
We should know fairly soon, like within the next few weeks. We should have that ironed out and worked out as to what we're able to offer and how we're able to offer it. I think, that we should know that in the next few weeks.
Sorry, work from home. All right, back. All right, families in the world of early childhood have such a limited amount of time. Wait, I'm sorry. Families are in the world of early childhood for such a limited amount of time unless they have multiple children. How do we project we will ensure sustainability in the work as parents may phase out? That's a great question. Sorry, I misread it. Did that make sense? Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Why don't you read it one more time?
Yeah, so families are in the world of early childhood for such a limited time, meaning, right, their kids are 0 to 5 and then they kind of age out unless they have multiple children that are within this young early childhood age range. So the question is, how do we project we will ensure sustainability in the work as the parents may phase out as their kids continue to age?
Well, I'll take a stab at that. So I think one way that one thing that we're thinking about is the fact that we can only seat 15 people on a council, right? And so that means that some parents won't have the opportunity to sit on the council. Maybe they'll have an opportunity to sit on the action council and serve. But even so, if they're not able to do that, we are trying to create an affinity group. So that's for folks that may not be a part of the action council, family members, I would say, not a part of the action council, and family members that are not on the family council as well, but are interested in still doing the work of birth to 5. There will be lots of opportunities still available to parents and caregivers and family members that are not seated on the council. And we're very much interested in hearing your voice and having your skill set, utilizing your skill set. And so we are mindful of that, and we're going to create an affinity group just for that. So we can still continue to keep parents and caregivers engaged in this work.
And then if I can just add a little bit to that, like, we understand that, that they're with us for a short period of time. But that's why we've kind of increased that age range to 8 so that we can garner their interest. Those that have just recently left, early childhood, we're still interested in their feedback and wanna get their feedback and solicit all of their knowledge that they've learned as they went through the early childhood system. And so that's also a part of it, where it's not just the birth to 5, but on those family councils, if they have children up to 8 years old, they can still participate because their opinions and their experiences are still valuable and relevant to what we're doing.
Thank you. All right, we currently do not have any additional questions in the Q&A box. So I'd just like to encourage meeting attendees this evening. If you have additional questions, please feel free to go ahead and type them into the Q&A and we can read them aloud and continue to answer. Or if anyone is interested in coming off mute and asking a question live, we're welcome to accommodate spoken questions as well. Questions about the Action Council, the Family Council, timing, the open positions, anything. And no pressure, but we're here to answer questions.
So maybe while we're waiting for people to collect their thoughts and formulate questions, I could just give a brief overview of the outreach strategies that we are employing for the Family Council. So I am working in tandem with my wonderful colleague, David Correas, who's on another call, on another webinar, doing the same thing that we're doing here tonight, giving out some great information about the work that we're doing through Birth to 5 Illinois. So we are employing a number of outreach strategies to ensure family voice for the family councils. Our area coordinators, Kim is one of our coordinators, hit the ground running early on with this project to be out in the communities and spread the word about Birth to 5 Illinois, and have made some really wonderful connections there. And as a result, David and I are trying to take advantage of those connections and meet up with folks, talk to folks, and be out in the community to get a better lay of the land in all the different regions. So that's one of the things that we're doing. We're also looking to, again, go into communities and within the regions to talk with the local collabs. And so that we can get so we can get information directly into the hands of parents and caregivers. We are also connecting with a lot of our state partners like the Illinois Head Start and DHS, um, and our early childhood partners as well to get information out. We have a flyer now that you all got earlier in this evening in the chat box that is specific to the Family Council, what it is, who's eligible, how to get involved. Has a QR code on that. So we are disseminating that across all of our social media platforms. And finally, we are also connecting with parent groups like the Family Advisory Committee, because we know that parent groups have a reach that is, far and fabulous. And so we're asking the parent groups that we're connected with to also help to disseminate information, the flyers, and help us to get the word out. So if any of that, appeals to you, or you fall in any of those categories and you'd like to help us get the word out as well, please, drop your name, your information in the chat box, and we can get you a flyer, or we can have a conversation, follow-up conversation, so that we can get things moving. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dina. That was really perfect because now we have numerous questions in the box. So thank you. That worked wonderfully. All right. So the first question is, I know you all mentioned that there would be a funding opportunity this spring for regional coalitions. Are there other direct supports you anticipate providing to local collaboratives?
So yes, we do have some funding for local collaborations that will be released this spring, so very soon. And that is 2 pots of money, one for planning. So for those areas in the state that do not have any advisory arms working on their behalf, there will be an opportunity for them to apply for planning money to be able to get a group going in their area. And then also for implementation for those collabs that are already existing, there's an opportunity for them to apply for funding, with the outcome being enrollment and increasing enrollment. So finding the children and getting them enrolled in services, re-enrolled in services, re-engaged in early childhood services. So we have that funding. We currently have it in our budget for the next 3 years. And so we're hoping that we get funding beyond those 3 years, but we currently have it for the next 3 years in our budget. This year, we are planning to give out $1 million towards both of those efforts. And so, we're always looking for ways to increase that so that we can be of better support to those local collabs in the region. But those are the funds that we have available from our department.
Thank you, Sonia. Great question. All right, the next question is, I know you said the timing of organizing the councils will depend on the communities in which they're being organized, but do you have any sense of when the Region 50 Action Council will be formed?
Yes. So as we stated, we will stand up these councils. The first step in the standing up of the councils will be when we hire the regional manager. So that is the first step in that. So we have to have a regional manager in place to help coordinate and, coordinate those efforts to get that council stood up. So when we have hired a regional manager for that area, then we will start to work on the council, standing up of that council. We have received quite a few resumes across the state, but they have been kind of coming in sporadically across the state. So for some regions, we may have, 3 or 4 applicants. For other parts of the state, we don't have any applicants. And so it's really sporadic the way that the resumes have been coming in. And so when we get a handful of resumes for every region, we will start the screening process. And then start that hiring process for those regions that have, about 3 or 4 or 5 applicants that have applied for that region. I can't tell you right now how many we've had for Region 50, but that is the process that we're using. Once we get a handful, we will start, our HR department will start that screening process and setting up interviews to get those positions hired.
Thanks, Sonia. I was going to add something to that and I just lost my thought. Oh, I know that, we had these statewide region specific kickoff events in early February and really heard from the field that, folks were interested in us doing additional outreach. So we've been really focusing a lot of our energy and attention on organizing these events. But now that they're kind of in motion, we want to make sure we're spreading the word to different regions again, to really allow more time for folks to, submit interest forms. So I think just to add that on as well, that, these touch points with the community are helping us make sure that any additional people who are interested have some time to also submit their information.
Yep.
All right, so the next question is there a selection process for those who apply to the councils? How are you determining who will be on the councils from the applicant pool?
So great question. Which will come out soon. We are anticipating that we'll have a selection committee. So the selection committee interest forms will be coming out very soon. So we're looking for folks to sit on the selection committee. Selection committee will be about 3 to 5 people that are not interested in sitting on the council or are not interested in the position, the manager position that's available. So these are people that don't have an interest for whatever reason in the position or having a seat on the council, can fill out to be a part of the selection committee. And so the selection committee will be using an equity matrix or rubric that we have created to review those interest forms that have come in, and they will use that matrix or that rubric to make decisions about who sits on the council. So that's taken into consideration, making sure that we have representation of ethnicity that's representative and race that's representative of that particular region, minoritized communities and under-resourced communities, that we have that representation, gender, just the myriad geography, so that we have representation that comes from across all parts of the region. And so they will be looking at that and using that matrix to choose and select those that will be on the councils. In parts of the state, because we understand that sometimes people may not have that interest, may not be there, right? And so in parts of the state where that interest is not there and we don't get enough interested parties interested in being on the selection committee, then there are certain seats on the action council that are really, no one else can sit there. So if we're asking a mayor, there's, one mayor that we would seat there, or if there's an ROE superintendent, that there are certain seats on the council and certain stakeholder groups where there's not a lot of choice there. And so we will seat those seats first. And maybe seat about 3 to 5 of those, and then have them act as the selection committee and use that rubric to seat the rest of the councils.
Great, thank you. We did have one other question. I'm not sure if we answered this entirely, but did we have a schedule of the hiring process for the positions?
No, it's based on interest and the applications that we get in. Like I said, once we get a handful for a region, we will start the screening process for that position.
Thank you. And I see we have one question in the chat box about money that is going to go directly to the workforce. The only funding that we have available going direct to communities will be that grant program that's being offered for new and existing community collaboration. So through this program, we don't have any funding available for the early childhood workforce directly. And these are volunteer positions, again, with stipends being offered for families who serve on the council, but all other early childhood professionals or members from the community will volunteer to serve on the councils. All right, just doing a time check. We have roughly 10 minutes left together. We currently do not have any additional questions in the Q&A box. Again, just want to give everyone a few more minutes just to pause and see if, again, anyone wants to raise their hand and come off mute, or feel free to type any outstanding questions you might have into the Q&A box so we can make sure that we answer it for you. Oh, Lisa is raising her hand. Armand, are you able to do that or can I handle it?
I think I just asked her to unmute if she would like to.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. So Lisa, you should be able to unmute yourself. There we go.
Okay, I think I can be heard now.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lisa Tate, and I work for SIUE Head Start, Early Head Start program. And excuse me, this week, like I'm sure some of you all are, many of our staff are involved in the Illinois Head Start Association conference. So I've been in trainings all day long, and I still got a little bit of energy left. Now, our program director wanted our program to be involved in this. And I just told her, yeah, whatever you need, sure, we'll do it. And I'll figure it out as I go along. So I really didn't have a good understanding about what the council was. And after this webinar, I realized, oh, okay, there's an action council and there's a family council, because I filled out all kinds of paperwork. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just filling it all out. And I figured, well, when I go to the webinar, I'll get clarification. So for someone in my position who wants to be involved with this to help represent our program and the needs of our service area, it doesn't seem like, even though I may have filled out the paperwork for the family council, it doesn't seem like I would fit into that, but more so the action council. Okay. And with that, I understand that there's a 1-year commitment, 2 meetings per month. But what is it? And I understand that there's different people from different walks of life, and we're all coming together to take a look at what are the needs in our service area and so on and so forth. And just in plain layman's language, what would that action council do? Is this something I will automatically be on because I filled out the paperwork? Or if this is something that I have to now apply for? I'm just not clear and I need a little bit of help.
So thank you, Lisa, for that question. And thank you for using your last bit of energy to attend and participate today. I really appreciate that.
I give it to you, Sami. Sonia, you get my energy.
So to answer your question, and I lost my train of thought just for a second. Hold on. What was the question again? Lord Jesus. I'm telling you.
The question was, for the Action Council, looking at the commitment and what would that person do? And does that have to now apply for it, or because I have paperwork, am I just part of it?
So that's where I was going to start. Thank you for restating that. So that interest form is, we tried to get away from an application and calling it an application, but essentially that is what the interest form is. Okay. So by completing that interest form, that is what the selection committee is going to be looking at to make sure that we have the diversity and the diversity in the stakeholder groups that we need sitting on that action council. So that is what they're going to use when they're using that rubric to choose and select folks to sit on the action council. So there is no other form that you need to fill out for that. Once you fill out that interest form, that is what we will use to then seat the council. So I hope that clarified that piece.
It does. Great.
Okay. And then as far as what the councils are going to be doing, so in this first year, it's really just to get a really thorough understanding of what is available in the region, right? So what services are available in the regions? What's that slot gap? So we'll be doing a slot gap analysis, and Illinois Action for Children will be doing a lot of this work. So we're going to do what we're calling a regional scan or a regional needs assessment, kind of looking at what services are available, what's currently there, what's needed there. And so the important piece about that is like the Family Council and the Action Council are going to give us that qualitative piece that we don't usually get with the data, right? So we've got that quantitative piece and that data, but that data doesn't tell us the whole story, right? And so the Action Council and the Family Council are going to be really providing that qualitative piece because the data may tell you that, there's a slot gap analysis and that you've got 3 and 4-year-olds that you don't have slots for, right? But what it won't tell you is what kind of services are families saying that they need. So you may know that you need slots for 3 and 4-year-olds in your community, but families are going to tell you, yeah, you've got slots available, but I work second or third shift and there's no place that's open for third shift workers, right? Or you keep opening, 3 and 4-year-old classrooms. I've got an infant and toddler that's been on a wait list for a year. And so I need infant toddler care, not 3 to 4-year-olds. So that's what these councils are really going to be charged with in that first year, is really doing a thorough examination of what's available and then really finding out like what is the specific need beyond a 3 or a 4-year-old slot that the data may tell us is needed in that area.
Wonderful. That was very clear and concise. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you again for your question.
All right, well, it is 5 till, and we don't have any additional questions in the chat box.
All right, I guess that means we were clear and concise and we answered all the questions. All right. We have 2 more slides, just as a reminder. So just as a reminder, next steps and how to get involved. So if you have not completed an interest form and you're interested in being considered for the Action Council or the Family Council, please go to our website. It is shown there on the screen, our website, and the links actually to the Action or the Family Council interest forms. We also have an extensive FAQ on our website. So if you have other questions, take a look and peruse that. It's probably been asked and answered already. So take a look there if you think of a question after the fact, and take a look there and see if it's there. If it is not, feel free to reach out to us at info@birth25illinois. We take questions through there as well. So feel free to submit any questions that have not been answered in our FAQ. That is how we generate our FAQ, is by getting questions from folks, and then we post them to our FAQs as we answer them. So please feel free to do that as well. And next slide. All right. So this concludes our presentation for tonight. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to attend, and for all your thoughtful questions and feedback and insights. So enjoy the rest of your evening, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Stephanie, I'm going to follow up with you.